past is over with. You can't stop Jehovah. You can't stop Yahweh. You can't stop the great I am who lives inside of me. You can't stop Jehovah. You can't stop Yahweh. Hello, welcome to the Tamira Bell Show. It is Tea with the Ladies Wednesday, and I am so excited, you guys, for today. I'm excited for our amazing guest on today, and I hope this week has been amazing for you. You know, our focus is peace, so I hope you've been, just breathe in, breathe out. I hope you have been embracing peace this week. I hope you have made a decision in your life to say, you know what, I'm freeing myself from disturbance. I'm freeing myself from anything that is getting in my way of peace. So you guys, on today, we have Miss Spain. And Spain, before we get started, go ahead and let the people know what you do.
I'm Spain. I'm a makeup artist.
All right, she's a makeup artist, you guys. And also on today, we have Prophetess Patresa Rumph. If you can go ahead and Prophetess and let everyone know exactly what you do.
Hello, everyone. My name is Pastor Patresa Rumph. I am the pastor of Anointed Flow Ministries here in Warner Robins. I also am a braider here in Warner Robins at Braid, Weaves, and Locks.
Awesome, awesome. So I hope you guys are ready. I hope you got your tea, all right? If you don't got your tea, you need to make sure that later on today, you drink you a glass of tea, all right? So we're going to go ahead and start. We're actually talking about peace on today. So ladies, I actually want to start by just asking you all a question. And the question I want to ask y'all is, how important is it for you to have peace?
Extremely important. Because if I'm not at peace, my household not in peace, my children not in peace, my husband not in peace, my business not in peace. Like, it's a ripple effect. It's a domino effect. And me not taking care of my own peace will start to affect everything and everybody around me.
I love how you said it'll start to affect everyone around you, but also how you said it's a ripple effect. So if I'm walking in my peace, right, then it's going to attract those around me. And I think that's so important. What about you, Prophetess?
Well, I have to piggyback on Spain. When I'm not at peace, it's like everything around me is not at peace. And it's important to me to have my peace. It took me a long time to get to this place of embracing my peace. So it's very important. I mean, it's very important because it affects you in your household, your business, ministry. So I've learned over the years that it won't just naturally come. You have to take your peace.
Right.
You have to embrace your peace. So it's important. It's very important.
Yeah, I definitely think that peace, it plays a huge part. And I also think that a lot of times that's something that we strive to do and we may not necessarily focus on, if that makes sense. Like, that's that missing piece in a lot of individuals when it comes to that pertaining peace. But what I want you all to do at this time, what are some things, some moments in your life where you wasn't at peace and it may have even drew you closer to God, and the minute you were drawn to God, peace allowed you to, whether it opened your eyes, whether it's that situation caused you to think about your situation. Because the thing that I realize about life is life happens so fast that we can be in situations and we don't realize that we're in those situations until we are about to shut down completely. So what are some moments, and we'll start with Spain, what are some moments in your life where you felt like, okay, I want to give up, I'm disturbed, but seeking God helped you?
I still have those moments, like now, to where you know how life can just catch you all at once, and it's like, it's the little bitty things that just don't go right. So it's like, man, it's a pile of all the stuff that I didn't take care of mentally. Because it's a lot of stuff that we say we don't really worry about, but inside you worry about it. So you try to pretend to other people like, it's nothing. But ultimately, it's deep down inside of you. And you don't realize it until everything has started to pile up. And it's like, oh man, you know,
Right.
I gotta talk to God about this. I gotta get this stuff off of me. And to be honest, that's kind of like the best place to be. Because if it wasn't for those moments, where would God be? You get what I'm saying? Like, I have a reason to come and sit and talk with you. Like, if I have it all together, I wouldn't have a reason to want to sit here and say, hey, I need you right now.
Right.
God, come and talk. Like, look, I need somebody to talk to that actually understands what's going on. Even if you don't say anything, and sometimes it's like, you know, God can recognize your tears.
That's good.
So it's like, even when you don't know what to say, and you cry about it, it's like you get a sense of peace, a sense of comfort, when you just let it go. So it's a pile of life. It's a pile of life. And that's just from my perspective. Because I know a lot of times I have to pretend. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to keep it, because I got young babies. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to, you know, you have to keep going. Because life goes on, right?
Right.
I can't take the time to sit down and just think about it all the time. But when I do, I take that moment to acknowledge, you know, God, I need this right here.
Right.
Even if it's just somebody to talk to. You get what I'm saying? Because not everybody can understand what you're going through, because somebody else will think it's simple. Somebody else will say, girl, that ain't nothing. I can do this and I can, you know. It won't seem like that to everybody, but everybody's not the same. So in that case, just let it go. Just let it go.
Spain said, just let it go. Just let it go. All right, you guys. So what we're going to do, we're going to get to you, but we're going to take a brief break right quick because we want to definitely dive into this. If you have not shared the video, if you have not tagged for it, if you have not DM5, I want you to press that share button for me and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll be back after the break.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Are you ready to recharge in relationships? You don't want to miss our amazing host, Tamira Bell, the entrepreneur, business coach, pastor, and impactor. Our amazing and exciting co-host, Royal Dynasty. Our special guest, Tim Washington, the DJ, entrepreneur, and business guru. Pastors Leon and Delilah Vernon, pastors of Envision Global United. It's time to recharge while single, dating, married, or divorced. Yes, yes, and yes. Remember, everyone has a story, and everyone's story can help someone else's story. If you don't know, now you know. The time is now, and now is the time. Let's take it up a notch and let's recharge in life and in business. Join us with special guest Shay Reed, the entrepreneur and credit expert. Jasmine Mike Poindexter, the entrepreneur and virtual assistant expert. Rhonda T. Pearson, the entrepreneur and business coach. Coach Lonnie Bartlett, a Georgia Sports Hall of Famer. Remember, entrepreneurs, people know people you don't know, but people you need to know. It's your duty to win. It's your duty to win. So get in the room so you can produce vision in the earth. Hey, hey, hey now. We're not done yet. Wake up. It's time to charge up. Let's recharge spiritually and mentally. Make sure you're there to hear the amazing story of Elizabeth McCain from broke to multi-millionaire. Cornetta Moore, the entrepreneur and branding strategist. Dr. Shamika Robinson for words of encouragement. Belinda Scott, amazing and anointed gospel recording artist. Register and get your seat today. I said register and get your seat today. Meet us there physically or virtually, but meet us there June 24th through the 26th. We'll see you there. Hey you guys, how
you doing? I hope you've been enjoying the Tamara Bell Show. I hope you've gotten something from Boss Rise Up, Tea with the Ladies, The Opinion, The Prophetic Room, I Am Harvest Moments, right? I hope you're grabbing something every single day that can impact your life, transform your life so that you can be the best person you can be. What I need your help with? Yeah, I said it. I need your help. I need you to help me spread this amazing word, spread this amazing experience around the globe. How can you help me? All you have to do is share the video. That's it, right? How easy is that? Share, right? I know you see it on your screen right now. You see it? Share. Just click that share button to help us impact the lives of our young people, impact the lives of the people around the world. We need your help because together we can reach more than 1,000. That's what the word says. 1 can reach 1,000, 2 can reach 10,000. Oh man! So what can we do together? We can reach thousands and help this world become a better place. So I'm just asking you to help by just clicking that share button, tagging 4 people, DMing 5. That's it. And you guys, we are back, and I hope that you were able to press that share button, tag for DM5. So before we left, we asked Spain a question dealing with peace. And you know how sometimes in life, things happen. And it happens without us necessarily knowing that it's happening. It happens because life happens. You know, time goes by so fast. So we asked her a question, and she broke it down so well because, you know, being a mother is so... it does something to you. So one of the things that Spain was talking about is how she pretends because she has young babies, right? She has young children. And so we're going to go at this time, and you probably can relate to that. If you can relate to it, heart it up, put in the chat, I can relate, girl, I can relate. But we're going to go to Prophetess Patresa Rumph, and I'm going to ask you a similar question. So throughout life, you know, life tends to, it happens so fast. But have there ever been moments in your life where things happen and it did disturb your peace and you had to go to God, and in going to God, what were you able to conquer? But not only that, how was you positioned because of it?
I can think right off the top of my head. About 2 years ago, I lost my dad. Suicide. And I can say I felt like I lost my peace. It was like I didn't understand, it didn't make sense to me. I didn't feel like I was in a place of God to even pray for myself. Because I don't know, it was just a hard place to be in. But I'm grateful to God that I had men and women of God that prayed for me, lifted me up when I didn't have the strength to pray for myself. So I can say that was one of the times that was a real hard time for me, where I couldn't say that I had peace because I didn't understand. So I remember crying, being upset, you know, questioning God, you know. And I remember one of my sisters in Christ, she told me something. At the time, it didn't make sense to me. But I remember her saying, you'll never get over it, but God will give you the strength to get through it. So it's like, it was way before now, but I can really say that I understand it. I have my peace back. I'm okay. I'm better than I was, I can say that. Because I had got to a place where I thought, okay, I'm good, you know, had just got over, you know, dealing with what I had went through with cancer and everything. So I'm like, okay, I'm at peace. I'm not going to let nothing or nobody steal my peace. And like you said, woman of God, sometimes you have to pretend. You know, you have to pretend like you all right. You have to, you know, speak it out. Even though you're not feeling it, you have to speak it out and kind of walk in it until you feel it, you know, because sometimes you're not okay. Sometimes you get overwhelmed with the cares of the world, trying to make sure everybody else is okay, but you're not really okay. Because you're trying to carry and do everything for everybody else. So I remember also, like I was saying earlier, you have to take your peace. You have to embrace your peace. You have to say, you know what, I'm not going to let nothing take my peace. Because for a long time over the years, I didn't have peace. You know, I wasn't in a good place. I didn't know that I could have peace in my life. With so many things happening in my life, I didn't think I could have peace. But when I started to embrace it, I'm like, I'm not gonna let nobody take my peace. Sometimes you have to walk away from certain things, you know, some things you cannot entertain so that you can have peace. Sometimes you have to get away. I go to my daughter's house, and I always say that's my little mini free vacation, because it's like I have to get away so I can get revived and, you know, just kind of get my thoughts together sometimes. And I don't know, I just love being able to have my peace. You know, and being in a place where I can have peace. Because some people don't have that, so I'm so grateful that I do and I can have it. And you just have to, it's just some things you have to do that you don't want to do so that you can have peace.
Right.
Sometimes you have to separate from people. There's different reasons, different things you have to do so that you can have peace.
You know, I think it's a lot that you said. Oh my goodness. But one of the things I want to elaborate on is when you said you had people in position, or people that you call friends, sisters, or brothers in Christ that were able to pray for you. Because I really believe that when we're in a place that we're not at peace, you know, we don't have that peace, it's easy for darkness to come and doubt to come. Doubt. And, you know, with you even being a pastor, I think a lot of times people don't understand that the things that pastors endure and the things that pastors go through, and it's crazy because you'll hear people say pastors are regular people just like everybody else, but can you imagine going through but still having to deliver a word? Can you imagine going through and still having to pray for those people that are reaching out to you and all of these things? I think at that moment, you really find yourself and you remember, like, I'm a person too. And I don't know about you, but when there's the spirit of disturbance on you, or misunderstanding, confusion, it can be times where you just want to scream and say, do people see me? Like, can they really see me? Can they really see that I'm not going through? And even though you may walk in the prophetic and you can feel somebody else's energy, you're like, who can feel me? Can anybody feel me? Can anybody see me and know that I'm going through some things, you know? And I feel like, and I'm going that way because you are a pastor, because a lot of people say what they want to say, but we're not realizing that a pastor is only one person. Membership is more than one. And do people just say, I wonder what my pastor is going through right now, and I'm just going to pray? Because in leadership, you automatically have that nature about yourself to just pray just because. But when you're going through a situation like you went through 2 years ago, I think the biggest thing is realizing who's really there. Because, you know, life happens so fast where you're helping everybody else. You're pulling your hand out. You're pulling your hand out. But when you get into a place where you feel like you're being pushed to the wall, I believe internally you're looking to see who's really there for me.
Yeah, that's why it's important to realize what people in your corner sees your peace as an investment.
Oh, that's good.
So if somebody sees that, okay, I could just use me and you for example. I know that a piece of who I am can connect to a piece of who you are, but at the same time, I look at you as the leader. So it's like, if I know she got a lot on her plate, and I know it's something that I could take off of there, you get what I'm saying?
Right.
I see your piece as an investment.
That's good.
Because if you make it, we gonna make it too.
That's
Right.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I would see that as an investment, and it's a lot of people that doesn't want to sacrifice for your peace. You get what I'm saying? So seeing somebody needing peace in certain positions, it will require somebody else to say, okay, well, give me some of your load because you need to go further. So you can see something first because I know you're going to share it with me too. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's important to have people that will invest in your peace too.
I love that you said that because you basically said that a selfless person can see the investment of peace, but a selfish person cannot see that somebody else needs peace.
Yeah.
And even though as leaders we have people that follow us, Spain, you just showed us how to separate those that are selfish from those that are selfless because it's a natural thing. Like nobody had to tell you that. It's like naturally, if you're not selfish, you're thinking, how can I help this person even though they may be leading? What can I take off? That's a selfless act.
It's a sense of service.
Right.
And we all know what God says about the servant.
Exactly.
It's the greatest among them.
It is.
So that's why you, at some point, you're going to have to play that servant role.
And the thing is, one of the things is servant leadership is the best leadership.
Right.
One who served first. And so it's like, if I can't serve, then how can I expect to be served?
Right.
And even in the midst of service, what I've learned is people that have the nature of serving, they're not serving to receive it. They're serving because it's their nature.
Right.
And I think a lot of times our peace can get disturbed because there are too many selfish people in our life. Too many selfish people that don't believe, let me grab her by the hand. Let me give her a hug. Let me help her. Let me
Right.
take these things off.
Right.
And a lot of times in ministry, you really do see that a lot. You do. And sometimes it's mistaken as control because you're thinking that person just doing this. But if you step back and really evaluate, you're watching a person do multiple things. But the question really is that a selfless person who is automatic for it?
Right.
Because you just shifted peace to a whole different dimension because it's like when we're on the journey of vision, many times we want to fulfill vision by ourselves. But there's some disturbance that comes. They say turbulence, right? Disturbance that comes, and because it comes, it can cause us to say, you know what, I pass it. Pass this for I don't even want it anymore. But we really have to evaluate who's around because it should still be peaceful in the process of fulfilling something.
Right.
But if we don't have selfless people around us, but we only have self-gain people around us, it's gonna bring that disturbance. So,
Right.
prophetess, pastor, you got something?
Well, I just want to say when Spain said that about the part that she said about I just lost my train of thought. But I'm gonna say this. Maybe it'll take my mind back to it. You have to be connected to people for them to be able to pick you up in the spirit and to know when you need help without you having to say it. Knowing, you know, what your role is as a pastor, you know, and that just really blessed me because that was a situation a young lady that's a part of the ministry, and she came to me and she was just like, you know, you do a lot, and I need to be obedient. We're gonna come together and lighten the load for you. And it made me think about that when you said that, you know, because it takes a lot, and I commend my pastor and all leaders, you know, for, you know, just being in leadership because it takes work. You know, you need people that are not selfish in your corner.
Right.
Because when you are, at your house by yourself, nobody else is around, you need people to be able to pick you up in the spirit and pray for you, keep you lifted up. It's important. And not, all the time pulling at you, or pastor this, pastor that. And I'm so grateful. I hope it's this way, but I don't. They're some of the most amazing people that I have. That's a part of the ministry now. They like, Pastor, I want to call you on the ball. You got to know that. I'm like, no, call me. Because I don't want them to feel like, they can't come to me,
Right.
or can talk to me, or whatever they may need. And that's even when it comes to not just ministry, but just people as a whole. You wanna make yourself available, but you don't want to be overwhelmed.
Right.
And going back to what you were saying, you need people in your life that are not selfish, that will say, you know what, her plate is full. I'm gonna lighten the load for her. Maybe I'll go and pick up one of her favorite drinks, or pick up one of her favorite whatever,
Right.
or just lighten the load, whatever it may be. I think I know that's real important, because that helps. That
Right.
helps out a lot. Because when you overwhelm, like you were saying earlier, when you overwhelm, it messes up everything. Everything is just like all over the place.
Right. I think that's so true, because even you know how they tend to say it's a thin line between love and hate. I think when you are a good person and you get too overwhelmed, and we're gonna even go to the anointing. You anointed, and you have a strong relationship with God, like strong. But then it's like you getting pow. I just like there's a thin line between love and hate. I truly believe that there's also a thin line between beast and angel, because it's like if it's overwhelmed, you are really fighting something internal that just wants to come out like a monster, and you have to really catch yourself. And a lot of times people deal with that because their peace has been disturbed, and they say things they regret, they do things they regret, and it's not, it removes the characteristics of their, I'm gonna say, normal self, right? And we have to be careful with that, because the enemy knows that as well. And the enemy will try to use certain things. And a lot of times when you're married, all of us are married. Yeah, all of us are married. So when you're married, sometimes, the enemy tries to use your marriage to do that. One of the things I tend to say all the time is I thank God for my husband, because when it comes to vision and purpose, he's 100%, probably more than that, supportive. But I realize everybody don't have that. And if you're not in purpose, your peace is disturbed, because peace and purpose is in alignment. So I want y'all to talk about that. How do y'all feel, or what's some things that you may want to tell the audience when it comes to purpose and peace?
Sheesh. Like you would most definitely have to be at peace, and like I said, you have to have the right people around you. But what I do want to say is, and it might sound a little crazy, disclaimer, but you do want people around you that has a sense of selfishness.
Come on.
And I say that because if you have somebody that's selfish, they take time for themselves.
That's good.
So if they take time for themselves, they have no problem giving to you. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So you do want somebody that has a sense of selfishness too. But it's so important to make sure you have the right people around you. And not only that, make sure you pay attention to the characteristics in that person.
Come on, let's talk about that.
Because it's the closest people to you sometimes that has the wrong character for the vision, right? So if I have to cut my grandmama off because her characteristics don't align with the purpose, she has to go. Because we're relatives. That doesn't mean family.
Come on.
So if I have to cut off, I just have to do that because it's a requirement. People don't understand the sacrifices of having a purpose.
Come on.
And that's one of the sacrifices is to let go of. And that's how you'll be able to keep your peace, because if you have the wrong people around you with the wrong characteristics, they won't understand the purpose.
Huh.
So if they don't understand the purpose, they'll disrupt what you got going on, right? Then your peace is disturbed. I like my peace.
Right.
So you got to go. I'm not finna give up my peace to make you happy because of who you say you are.
Yeah.
Right.
That doesn't matter to me. It's your characteristics. And that's why I look at how people move. And it's not, I have an understanding for everybody because everybody in different places.
Right.
Like everybody learns differently, everybody have different experiences. So it's like, I get where you're coming from, but I can't rock with that because it's not what I got going on right now. You can come in and let it date if you learn something different. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it's not necessarily the person, it's the character
Right.
that you have to pay attention to.
I love that you brought that up. The
Yeah.
characteristics. Ooh, you did that.
That's good.
Yeah. Wow. Because they gotta go. They gotta go. They might be a relative, but they gotta go. That does disturb peace.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like it's gonna disturb you. It's gonna poke at you until you make that tough decision.
Right.
But
I had to make that decision, so I know.
And sometimes the toughest decisions are the best decision because you ever felt like something was held up.
Yeah.
And you like, oh my goodness,
Like you
this
at
supposed to
war.
been happen,
Yeah.
and this happened and that happened. A lot of times it's because I always say this: there's some blessings God have for you, and He want to give them to you, but there's some people connected to you that He know you gonna give it to, and He don't want you to give it to them, and He's like, can you please let go of them, walk away from them, so that I can bless you and give you the favor that I really want to give you. And we have to be careful with that because it's in ministry sometimes, it's in family
Yeah.
sometimes, it's in relationships sometimes, and it's even connected to jobs sometimes. And we have to, and it's like, why is all of this happening? And then we blame the enemy, but really and truly, it's like God will bring it, the wind. God will bring the wind, and the wind is coming, and it's coming, and it becomes a storm. And it was never intended to become a storm, but we're not acknowledging the fact that God is blowing so that something can move out the way. And the storm is the only thing that can move it out the way. Oh, man. Oh, characteristics.
Sheesh.
I want them to be on my team. I want them to fulfill it with me. And God said, that ain't the plan I had for them at birth. God said He knew us before we were formed in our mother's womb. That's not the plan for them. That's not the plan that I have for them. And then sometimes it could be, I know something about them that you don't know.
Yeah.
I know what they're doing when you're not watching. Sometimes you don't have to know. God knows. And that's why God is saying, they aggravate you because they don't supposed to be there.
Wow. That made me think about, and I just really want to stay on what you were saying. Oh my God, you so like this to me. But I think about, how we as a people, we don't want to let go of our family because they're our family. And we feel like, okay, well,
Yeah, sure.
if I let them go, that wouldn't be right. They're going to feel this way, they're going to feel that way. But if they're not part of the purpose, you got to let them go.
Yes.
And sometimes, like you said, woman of God, sometimes we be wondering, like, why this hadn't happened. I don't got this prophecy, this person done spoke this on my life. Why haven't I got it? It's because of who you connected to. And it's sad, but sometimes it's family. And family can cause you to not have peace.
Come on.
Because of their situation, because of what they choose to be in.
Right.
But you have to learn how to separate yourself. Sometimes you may have to say, this is helping. Sometimes you just have to say, sometimes you just have to say, you know what? You can't come to my house.
Huh. Said.
You got too much going on. So that you can have your peace.
Exactly.
We think about, I know over the years we've heard people say, oh, you got to be careful about different people you be around, spirits, travel. But we don't think about some of those spirits being right there in house.
Come on, that's it.
In the family.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you have to do a cleansing in your house.
Yes.
And I don't mean like, that too, but a cleansing, spiritual cleansing.
Right.
Like, okay, this person got too much going on, and so these spirits don't enter in, and you be wondering why you be fighting, and why I feel like this. And I ain't got nothing going on. Me and my husband good. Me and my wife good. Whatever the case may be. But it's because of those spirits that you have allowed to come in. Because of what they choose to do. And what they choose to be in. They don't want to let go. And it's holding up your blessing because you connected to them. And so you don't have enough strength to say, you know what? I'm going to have to cut you off.
Right.
I still love you, but I'm going to have to cut you off because you interfering in my peace. And you're also interfering in the plan and the purpose that God got for my life and his people. People that are connected to me. You know? Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That just blessed me.
That was my whole life doing. Like, I want to say maybe like 4 years ago. Oh my gosh, the hardest struggle I had was between religion and relationship.
Come on.
Because my family pulling me this way, and I'm like, I knew something wrong with y'all anyway. I didn't like this. I was already against it, so I'm gonna run this way.
Wow.
And when they disagree with you, and they tell you you wrong, and they telling you that ain't God, and you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? So when you tell me I'm talking weird, oh okay, you're the weird one.
Okay.
You got to go at this point.
Right.
Because now you are making me sacrifice me knowing what I'm supposed to do in my life.
Right.
For what you think you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Nah, you're not finna get it up.
I'm so glad you went there because this is the thing people gotta understand between religion and relationship. Religion, and this is real, y'all. Religion is like recycling.
Yeah.
Religion is more of a it's a traditional system. It's a traditional system. Relationship is non-traditional because everybody's relationship will be different. And what happens is religion says we stay here, but we will never get here. But see, when you are like a person like me who study history and all of that, I'm like, God, I thank you for non-traditional slaves, okay? Because if they were traditional, slavery would still be here. And we have to understand that relationship says, I am speaking to you, and I want to guide you. And I use Harriet Tubman all the time because when you watch that movie, she is led by the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit leads her to freedom, but allows her to lead others to freedom. And when you did what you did, it's a similar state because, okay, you're being tugged this way, you're being tugged that way, you're being tugged this, that. But then relationship says, hear my voice, daughter. I know it sounds crazy. Hear my voice, daughter. I know it sounds weird. Hear my voice, daughter. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lead you to freedom. And then I'm going to have you go back and pull others to freedom. The same people that called you weird, the same people that called you crazy, and the thing we have to be careful with, because you said it, we will say everybody else, you got a wicked spirit. You're the devil. But when it comes to our house, when it comes to our family, they doing the same stuff, but they family. And we saw that with COVID. I wear my mask, but when my family come over, no mask. Right? I remember we was at my aunt's house, and I was the only one walking around with a mask on, right? And I got the question, why you got on a mask? And I said, because COVID is real. But this family, what they got to do with COVID? But in the natural form, that's how we think. It can touch everybody else but who's in the house. And we have to be careful with that, because what happens is, why is there a negative spirit connected to me? Because of bloodline, I'm allowing you in my house, but I keep saying I don't want negative people around me.
Wow.
But I keep letting you in my house. And I'm like, where is this coming from? And I'm looking for it. But I am afraid to look at you, because we have similar blood pumping through our veins. And I'm literally looking over you. You're in my face, and I'm looking over you. I'm like, where is this coming from, God? I can't get a break. And God is saying, you're looking right at it. But because they have the same last name as you, because they come from the same bloodline as you, oh no, it can't be. No way.
It's the
Right.
Come on. But God showed us in his word. He said, Abraham lied. I got y'all at a place. Now pick your land. Y'all can't go to the same place. Y'all can't go to the same place. But Abraham did not know, okay, this separation and the way that you go is actually going to help Lot one day. It's going to help him one day, but it's also going to break you from a lineage that cannot get you to become the father of many nations. So I need you to separate from your normal, separate from being comfortable, separate from what you're used to so that I can get you to what I promised you. And we got to be careful with that because we want to bring everybody that's in our family tree with us. And God is saying, I will bless them because they're a part of your tree, but there are certain things they will not have access to. But if you don't cut them off, you won't even have access to it. Spain said she was tugging. There was a tug of war going on.
I just literally just realized what it is. It's the love.
Come on, let's go.
It's the love. This is how I see it in my mind. I'm gonna try to say it as best as I can. Okay, so y'all please stay with me. Got me? Okay. So, your parents and your grandparents are the first people to teach you how to love, right?
Come on.
So, if they're the first people to teach you how to love, you love them first.
That's good.
So, the reason that it's so hard to remove yourself from them is because of that love. That's the number one thing I fought with because I learned how to love different from what I knew. So when I learned how to love different, I understood that the love that they tried to give me was wrong.
Wow.
So if my family's love was to the point where it became manipulation, I gotta cut it off because I know now, since I love how to love differently, it's not right. And that kind of what made it easier to just remove from that because I couldn't hold on to that because it became toxic. And it'll relate over to me and it'll stop the purpose. Because I would be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's either one or the other. So when you truly learn the character of the love that Christ wants to give others, you learn to love differently. The people that taught you how to love, if it's not aligned with his love, it just won't work.
That's deep.
It won't work.
That's deep.
Real deep. And when you were saying that, woman of God, that made me think about, that's one of the reasons why some, because it's not just women, it's men too. That's why they can't get out of abusive relationship because they love the person. So it's hard for them to disconnect from somebody that they love and they've gotten used to.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
It's like Samson. He loved right.
Right.
It's stated in there for a purpose.
Right.
He loved her.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Because she couldn't have got that close.
Right. She couldn't have
If it wasn't love there, you get what I'm saying? So it's that type of love that he needed. That's why he laid his head on her.
And love can be manipulative.
Yes.
If it's not coming from its correct source. And that is God. Because like you said, you were taught how to love. But you were taught how to love from your bloodline. And there are a lot of things that we are taught to do that is not in alignment with our purpose. And our purpose can't even be in the same room with it. It can't even be in the period. It can't be in the same room. That's why, as parents, we have to understand that even when our children grow up or if they're already grown, there are certain things they may want to do. We have to be honest with ourselves and say, I can't help you because I don't know how. I don't know how. But now I know how to pray. Bring the people that can show you how. Because what'll happen is I will bring the disturbance. Because I'll be trying to lead you to a place blind. And I can't do that. It's amazing how you broke that down, because I think a lot of people, they'll say they love. No. You were taught love from toxic. You were taught love from rape. You were taught love from molestation. You were taught love from the darkest places of your life. And that is now what you're putting out, because that's what you're familiar with and that's what you associate love with. But then that actually transitions to incorrect definition. So now you were taught that love meant this, but that is not the definition of love. So now that you know that love is God, you're even confused with God, because now you're associating God with your definition of love. And you're saying, well, why in the world would you even serve him when he allowed this, he allowed this? The only reason you're saying he allowed it is because the association with love is this thing over here, that thing that you're battling with. But once you say, okay, clearly I was taught incorrectly, I perceived it incorrectly, and that's not God. There are a lot of people that are not at peace with God, because they have in their mind, this is what God is, because y'all told me God was love. Wow. And it's like, okay, thank you, Holy Ghost, because it's like, how do you get to that person, right? And they can get in a relationship, let's talk about that, and the person shower them, treat them like a queen, treat them like a king, and the only thing they're thinking is, what do you want from me? You're manipulative. And what they're doing is putting a face on a body. Not realizing you won't let your past go because you don't understand. There's some misunderstanding there. And unforgiveness. Yeah. So now you're just reliving, but you're also producing. Yep. You're producing what you're reliving. And we have to be really careful with that, because now you're really a person, you're an unpeaceful person walking this earth, and now you're sowing disturbance. You're sowing disturbance. And you're like, well, how can I do that? Because I go to church. So how can I do that? Because I be praising the Lord, not realizing all you're doing is imitating. You're imitating. You're not praising the Lord from your heart. You're praising your Lord. You're praising the Lord based on what you've seen, because what you've seen and experienced is what actually produced the outcome of your life. And we have to be careful with that. Yeah. That means you don't even know you. You only know what trauma has made you. Yep. And that's why we get in certain altercations. We get in certain altercations, the first thing we do, it's not us. Trauma comes out. Daddy issues come out. Mommy issues come out. You must be in a good relationship. But you ain't arguing with your mate. You arguing with your mama. You arguing with your daddy.
Girl, that show would be, I ain't gonna lie to you.
They're not even there. And you're saying everything to this person that you can't even say to them. So your subconscious knows that it's not them, but your emotions don't. And we have to be careful with that. We really do. Yeah. Because we judge people, not realizing we're judging the person, as you say, right? We're judging the person, but we're not realizing that person hasn't even walked into their self. They haven't even walked into themselves.
Got to come in there.
Yeah, come on.
See, you have to understand that everybody has seen something from a different vantage point. And it's like, you want to be able to help them, but you can't until they see you. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, you have to have that level of understanding, especially when it comes to they at you.
Right.
And it's like, why you doing this to me? You don't get what I'm saying? Because I found myself saying it. So it's like, you know what? I understand why you doing what you doing.
Hurts area.
Right.
Let's talk about it. Because it's something there. I mean, it got to come out at some point.
It got to.
It got to. That's why we got to have grace to give people the room to grow.
Right.
Because if we stifle them with, I ain't having this, I'm going to leave you because you did this to me and you talking to me sideways and blah, blah, blah. But take that time and energy that you giving arguing back to sit down and say, talk to me. What's really going on? Especially with men. Because they talk with their emotions, not their words.
Woo.
When it's arguments, they talk with their emotions and not their words.
Right.
So that's why we as women have to read in between the lines. That's where the intuition come in at.
Come on.
You have to understand where it is that they coming from and what it is that they going through. So it's like, okay, well, you mad at me because, you know, the sun is too bright today. Okay? Tell me what's really going on, because the sun shined yesterday and we ain't had this.
Right.
We didn't have this. So what's going on? And that's why it's important. The divorce rate is so high.
It is.
It's so high because people are so quick to just up and leave and not understanding that you gonna be that person too.
Right.
You gonna be sitting in that seat too. You gonna have an attitude too.
And another reason the divorce rate is high is because it said that love covers a multitude of sin. You got to understand God covers a multitude of sin. So if you were taught to love incorrectly, that particular love does not cover a multitude of sin.
Yeah.
So I can walk away. That love says walk away. That love says, okay, next. All right. And we also got to understand, it's something that you said, oh my God, psh, right? You said it's going to eventually come out. What people got to realize is eventually come out can mean birthing children.
Wow.
It can mean children. So it may not come out in your season, but it is going to eventually come out. That seed is going to eventually purge. And we have to be careful. That's why some parents say, oh, you're doing exactly the same. And God is saying, hello, I had to show you. You ain't dealt with that yet.
That's right. And that's why we have to have our peace. We have to have our peace, because when we don't have our peace, we can't hear our husbands.
Come on.
When we all over the place, and when they talking through their emotions, we in our feelings, they in their feelings, we are not at peace. So look, I can't even hear what you're saying right now, because I'm in my feelings. I'm feeling away. So that's why that's one of the reasons why we got to have our peace, so that we can hear what they're saying.
Right.
So that we can understand, and so that we can pray for them. So we won't be in a place where we be like, you know what, first thing Monday morning, I'm going to the courthouse, I'm getting a divorce, I'm sick of this, you know?
Right.
Because that's some people, that was me at one point in time, like, no, dude, we are not going to do this. I mean, you know, but I'm so grateful to God for peace. And oh my God, y'all both. But it's like, I don't think we'll ever get to a place where, you know, we're going to be totally in peace.
No.
Because it's going to be something that's going to take us to a place where we don't have peace. Like, just today, like, coming here, I was feeling away because I'm like, girl, look, you know I had somewhere to go. I'm like, okay, girl, you got to get focused. So I had to get myself together. You know,